one of the factors of 2x cubed plus 42x squared plus 208x is x plus b, where b is a positive constant. What is the smallest possible value of b? So factoring. We need to factor this just completely. That's where we have to start. So 2x cubed, because it's saying one of the factors is, well, we don't know what any of the factors are, so we need to get to factoring. Anytime I see a coefficient up here in front, first thing I want to do is see, can I divide that coefficient out? Can I make this easier to factor? I also want to look at my variables. And I wrote an x cubed there, and that should have been an x squared. Come on, eraser, there we go. Squared, sorry about that. Okay, and so our variables, they all have a variable. It matches. I can take that variable out. So we're trying to find that greatest common factor. I'm going to do the numbers first. For 2, 42, and 208, 2 goes into all of those. So I can bring a 2 out. And that will leave on the inside a 1, or an invisible 1. 42 divided by 2 is 21. 208 divided by 2 is 104. Then x cubed, x squared, and x. The largest x with an exponent, exponential, I'm blanking on it. The largest multiple, there we go, the largest multiple of x. I was blanking on that term. That will go into this is just an x. Little side fact, it's always going to be the one with the smallest exponent. If the smallest had been an x squared would be what came out. Like if this was x to the fourth, x cubed, x squared, and x squared would have come out. It's always the smallest one. All right, so 2x comes out, and it leaves behind an x squared here. Make sure that's our positive there. An x here, and then nothing on the end. Okay, and I don't really need that invisible one. I'm going to remove it. Okay, so I've got 2x times x squared plus 21x plus 104. Now they are not looking for this 2x because they're saying one of the factors is x plus b. That means we have to factor that quadratic. Okay, so to factor a quadratic, now we do not have, there we go, we don't have a coefficient in front of the x. That makes things a little easier. We don't have to worry about that. We just need to look at these two numbers. And always when you're factoring a quadratic where 1 is our first coefficient, we want to know what will multiply to get that last number, in this case a positive 104, and what those same two numbers need to add to get that middle number here, a positive 21. Make sure you pay attention to those signs, positive and negative. They do come with the numbers. They attach to them. All right, so first I want to find those factors of 104. This one, it's going to have a lot of factors. It's a little bit tedious. That's what factoring is. Okay, so we have 1 times 104. And if you added those together, it would get you 105. That's not it. Then 2 times, let's see, 52. Add those together would give me 54. That's not it. Then 4 times 26. Add those together. That's 30. That's not it, but we're getting closer. Those numbers that we're adding to are getting smaller. Side note, if you need help with the factoring and finding all the factors of these, especially the larger numbers, I'm going to put links down below to various videos that are connected to the ones in this section. So I will put one on factor trees and finding factors down there if you need additional help with this. All right, so again, 4 times 26, and then add those together, get 30. The next one would be 8 times 13, and hey, add those together. Yes, that is 21. If you're wanting to know my personal method for this kind of thing, because 104 isn't, I mean, how many of us know 4 times 26 off the top of our head? Just if they said 104, what goes into it? 4 times 26, 8 times 13. Tell you what I'm doing in my head as I do this. I look and I say that's an even number, so I know a 2 comes out of it. Then I divide it by 2. That gives me 52. 52 is also an even number. 2 comes out of it. I multiply that by this 2. That gives me 4. And then I divide by 2 there to get me 26. Does that make sense? I'm taking that 2 out. I'm dividing it out of that 52 and then multiplying it by that. That gives me the 4. Dividing it gives me the 26. Okay. This one also is an even number. So I'm dividing it in my head, go, 2 times 13. So I'm going to divide that by 2 to get that, and then multiply this 4 by 2 to get the 8. That's my process for finding these for the larger numbers. Also, factor trees are great too. It's just whatever works best for you. There's a lot of ways to do this. A lot of times in math class, your teacher might go like, this is the way to do it. That's not usually true. Many times there's more than one way to do something. So yeah, that's the good thing about knowing the what's going on behind the scenes in math problems. Right. 8 times 13 is 21. So we have that 8 times 13 and 8 plus 13. Yay! Those are my two factors. They gave us a big one to factor, didn't they? So all right, now I have 2x times x plus 8 times x plus 13. And now we can answer their question of, x plus b, where b is a positive constant. What is the smallest possible value of b? Where there's two possible values of b could be 8, it could be 13. They want the smallest one. So that would be, of course, 8. Another thing you can do with graphing, just be careful with this. If you decide to go the graphing route, you can graph this. You can put this 2x cubed plus 42x squared plus 208x. You can put this into a graph and you can look and see where it crosses the x-axis. And that's where, you're going to find your factors. But please be careful with that. Make sure you fully understand what happens, what's going on there, because it's going to be the opposite. What I mean by that is this particular graph right here is going to cross at -8 and -13, not +8 or +13. So if someone just defaults to going to their graph and go like, I'm going to graph and find it that way, that's going to be super easy. But you don't realize that, okay, to find those, that x-intercept, where it crosses those zeros, I should say the zeros of the function of the quadratic, that you have to take that x plus 8 and then you set it equal to 0 and then you solve and you find that x is -8. So it's going to be a -8 on that graph. Because if you just go straight there to a -8 and then you're going to get -8 and -13 and like, wait, it says b is a positive constant. What's going on? We don't want that to happen. So graphing absolutely is a way to go for this. For some students, it's going to be the easier way to go. Just be absolutely sure you understand the relationship between the graph and these factors, or you're going to get it wrong. Just saying, graphing is a great tool, but we really need to know what's happening in the graph for it to work properly for us. Be sure to check out my math-related merch on Spreadshop or Etsy, links down below. And if you found this helpful or useful in any way, please help me help others. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. See you later. Bye.